Thank you all so much for joining for the winter partner meeting. We are excited to have all of you, and I'm sure, like most of you, your backyards probably look like the image on the screen here today. The SLELO staff, we all got together this morning and shoveled our way into the office because we're no longer measuring snow that's coming in inches. It's always predicted in feet right now. So we enjoyed a lot of that after shoveling our way out of our own homes to get here first. So for today's agenda, we're starting a little bit early. We might end early, and that's totally fine. I just wanted to make sure that we had enough space for roundtable updates. That's one thing that really means a lot to us as a team to have those. So we wanted to have ample time allotted to that. So we'll do some interactive things at the beginning. We're going to talk about the 2025 accomplishments in the annual report for SLELO PRISM, and then we will talk about our annual work plan. We have numerous presentations from our partners who submitted slides in advance, and then we'll do some roundtable updates in between and just share opportunity for open dialogue at the end as well. And so we really appreciate all of you and your patience with the technology as we dive into the first bit here. Carolyn is working tirelessly in the background to admit everyone from the waiting room, which another glitch apparently. We can't close our waiting room, so everyone just keeps getting readmitted into that. So without further ado, if everyone just wants to just take a minute to put your name and organization and position into the chat, that's super helpful. We have a lot of new partners who are joining this meeting, and it's just great to make sure that we have all of that stuff and that you guys see who's on the meeting. So we'll pause for a moment and let you do that. All right, so it looks like most of you put information into the chat, so thank you so much. We appreciate that. We are going to move into the next piece, which Megan is going to lead. And so I'm going to give her the reins.
Okay, so on the screen, you'll see a QR code or just a number code. If you scan that QR code, it brings you right to the Mentimeter. If you have your smartphone available, and if not, in a browser, if you go to menti.com and type in that code, that'll bring you into the Mentimeter. We're going to have a little icebreaker activity. Okay, so this is just drop a pin. You should be able to just touch the screen over your county for this one. So wherever you are calling in from, drop a pin. And now you should be seeing a question saying, what is your favorite outdoor winter hobby? So this will be a fun word cloud. So go ahead and just type in what your favorite hobby is.
Great, someone jumped right on that.
And then this is just to type your answer. So what is just something that you're looking forward to in 2026?
Yeah, graduating from grad school. That's exciting.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Ooh, nice.
Oh, the QR code is hiding some of the answers, I think.
All right, it looks like most everyone shared a lot of travel. I see some boating and swimming, just summertime. I love that. That's something we always look forward to. Although here in Pulaski, we got a few inches of snow after we shoveled everything this morning, but now it's blue skies and sunshine, so it's very much welcomed for all of us. So let's just dive into the annual report. I know, as a lot of you are also doing in the background, working on trying to just reflect back on the last year of work and really thinking about and trying to articulate on paper, well, or digitally in a Word file, articulate, what the impacts really are of the work that we're doing, how much work you actually did. I always feel it's almost overwhelming to look back at how much work was accomplished, but also just really proud of all of the partnerships and the collaboration and the different actions and stuff that we're taking to help slow or stop the spread of invasive species in the region, and just continuing to strengthen the resilience of this region as well. I know most of us all live, work, and play and are very passionate about the 5-county region that SLELO falls into. So what we're going to do is kind of just talk a little bit about our annual report and what some of our accomplishments were, and also accomplishments of our partners, and really just kind of look through that. And, one of the things that is really important is that the success of SLELO is only made possible through the dedication, vision, and collaboration of numerous individuals and organizations. A lot of you on the line are really to thank, and we just want to extend our deepest gratitude to anyone who's contributed time to any of our events, your expertise or your resources to help protect this wonderful area in Eastern Lake Ontario and along the St. Lawrence River as well. As most of you know, our funding for SLELO PRISM is through the New York State Environmental Protection Fund and is administered through the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. And it's really important to emphasize and just give that special thanks to DEC, and then also our host organization, the Nature Conservancy, because without those two organizations, we wouldn't be where we are. Also, we receive a lot of support and have a lot of contribution and collaborative work that occurs with IMAP Invasives and the New York State Invasive Species Database, as well as Ag and Markets and numerous partners and organizations on the line. So we know that as we're talking about these achievements in the next few slides here, as the team is sharing, it's not just a result of a single effort. It's really a collective of efforts from all of these organizations, all of our partners across the network. And really, it's the dedicated staff for these organizations as well, who are consistently working tirelessly, either in the background or at the forefront, working in our communities, continuing to strengthen our ability to do the work that we do. And, together, that's, I think, one of the things that I'm most proud of all of these programs, is that we're truly building a legacy together, building stewardship and resilience of this region, and the hard work of all of you and our staff especially just would not be something that we could accomplish if it wasn't for this network. So we might be sharing some information that was accomplished by partners, and I just want to emphasize that what we're sharing here is not just representative of what SLELO's accomplished. So what we're going to do and how we organize our annual report, and we really worked hard, and I'm very excited. Megan worked really hard on the design and a new look, but what we did was really try to organize it based on our strategic plan and to really follow that more closely, so that it kind of follows through the system that we are all working within. And so I'm going to stop talking finally, and for the next 20 minutes or so, you're going to hear from the team just sharing some of those actions that were accomplished in 2025. And so from there, I'll pass the baton.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Adrienne. I'm the Aquatic Restoration and Resiliency Coordinator. So I'm going to be sharing some of our prevention goals that we were achieving this past year in 2025. So prevention, really, this is the first and most critical line of defense against invasive species, because this focuses on stopping new introductions before they occur. So this includes by addressing primary pathways and promoting best management practices through proactive as opposed to reactive measures. So in 2025, some of our accomplishments was 45 acres were surveyed and 95 mailers were distributed for fanwort monitoring and outreach in the Little Salmon River. So this is a multiple year project that we're overseeing, and we're really prioritizing, as fanwort is a pretty recent tier 2 species in our region, found a couple of years ago in the Little Salmon River. So also there were no detections of spotter and lanternfly, we're happy to report. So within the 2 traps that we deployed in the SLELO region. So these spotter and lanternfly traps serve as a method to monitor for SLF. which is not yet known to be present in our region. This is still a tier 1 species, so these traps really help our prevention measures to serve us to help prevent the species and detect it as soon as possible. And overall, really happy to report when reviewing IMAP invasives records, there were no tier 1 species reported to be present this past year in 2025 within the SLELO region. So to find out more about these measures, as well as additional prevention measures taken in 2025, you can check out our annual reports.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yep. My bad.
No, you're good.
Just watching.
Thanks, Brittany. So goal 2, this is early detection and rapid response. So this ensures that new invasive species are identified and addressed as soon as possible before they become established. So by surveying high-risk areas and deploying rapid response protocols, the spread and impact of emerging threats are minimized. And at South Caldwell Pond, we observed a really rapid expansion of Milumba lutea, American lotus. So from about 0.4 acres in 2024 to 1.4 acres in 2025. So in less than a year, there was an increase of 75%. So to help control and kind of get our hands on the situation with the help of volunteers, all seed pods visible at the site were removed, and this added up to 415 pounds of seed pods. I think it was like 18 ginormous bags. Also, there were terrestrial surveys, which were completed at 113 HPAs across, which are high priority areas, across 7 priority conservation areas. And aquatic surveys were conducted across 7 priority conservation areas, in addition to fanwort surveys on the Little Salmon River. So these surveys, these early detection rapid response surveys really help provide our ongoing monitoring of invasive species within our identified priority conservation areas, really allowing for the opportunity of early detection and rapid response in our region.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. This is Robert Smith, the Terrestrial Restoration Resiliency Coordinator. I'm going to start my conversation talking about Goal 3 of the annual report, invasive species management. With the presence of many invasive species in the area and the inevitability of the introduction of additional invasive species, active management is necessary to suppress and eradicate these invasive species as they attempt to further spread throughout our region. Last year, we demonstrated this management by both manual and chemical means, suppressing both terrestrial and aquatic invasive species. Chemical treatment of invasive species was used at 77 HPAs, focusing on 4 invasive species, those being pale swallowwort, Phragmites, invasive knotweed, and bittersweet, with swallowwort being the one that was most treated. Manual treatment focused on 4 invasive species, which were swallowwort, yellow iris, water chestnut, and American lotus. Manual treatments occurred at 3 terrestrial sites where over 9,600 invasive plant stems were removed, while manual treatment occurred at 6 aquatic sites where over 7,200 pounds of invasive plants were removed. Our giant hogweed program monitors 73 sites, 39 of which had giant hogweed, which was managed using either chemical or manual treatment. 3 of these sites were retired as giant hogweed was declared as officially eradicated after 9 years of no presence. Management of many of our widely established invasive species will be continuing over the long term as their populations are beyond eradication levels. Overall, though, our efforts across the PRISM have managed to keep invasive species populations at lower densities to protect PCA's rare and rich species diversity. All right, I'll move on to Goal 4, ecological restoration. Ecological restoration closes the loop between the invasive species management and ecosystem recovery. This goal emphasizes restoring native plant communities and improving long-term site resilience to future disturbances by supporting self-sustaining systems. Well, last year, we planted 1,400 plants across 4 restoration sites that were previously managed for yellow iris, phragmites, or pale swallowwort. 22 native species were selected, with up to 15 species being planted at one restoration site. Resources such as iNaturalist, New York Flora Atlas, and New York Natural Heritage Program's Ecological Community Guide were used to determine native species selection and habitat suitability for these sites. Each of these restoration sites are part of a 5-year monitoring plan, which consists of measuring species diversity, both inside the managed area and outside of it, and the invasive species presence for a 5-year period with a goal of at least 80% species diversity in the restoration area of what's in the non-managed area, and eradication of the invasive species within that managed area. Last year, there of the monitoring sites, we had a 1-year 1 site, 4-year 3 sites, and 2-year 4 sites. Also, 4 other special projects were funded to expand restoration impact in the SLELO region. In addition to that, nearly 500 trees were planted at Rainbow Shores Preserve as part of the Nature Conservancy's reforestation efforts.
Okay, Megan Pistoli-Shaw here, Education Outreach Coordinator with SLELO, and I will talk about Goal 5, Education, Outreach, and Communication. We're really raising awareness, trying to engage the community to take action to prevent and manage invasive species, and also enhancing communication across the partnership and in our region throughout this goal. And in 2025, we engaged 23,000 people through our websites and our newsletters. We had over 2,400 participants across 78 events, 463 of which participated in 8 NISA events, the New York Invasive Species Awareness Week. Over 1,000 hours were dedicated by 176 participants at 16 volunteer-assisted events. Kudos to everybody who helped out with that. And we had 13 press releases picked up by various media outlets in our region. And we were featured in the Nature Up North Naturally Speaking podcast, discussing the impacts of water chestnut on aquatic ecosystems. And we had over 1,400 social media followers on our Facebook and Instagram and YouTube combined together. And we launched over 300 social media posts, generating over 290,000 views and 2,900 content interactions. And Goal 6, this one is cooperation and partnerships. So we're supporting cooperation and partnerships by sharing our resources, our expertise, and information among our partners. And we're really trying to strengthen invasive species management efforts through these actions. And so in 2025, through this goal, we completed 189 annual work plan actions. Ooh, lots of work there. 32 partner organizations were represented in our partner engagement survey, which was aimed to really strengthen our collaboration. Thank you very much for those of you who participated in that survey. And we held 3 partner meetings, and our staff also attended 9 monthly New York State PRISM webinars, quarterly PRISM leader meetings, and participated in multiple regional and statewide committees, all of which you can learn all about in our annual report if you're really interested in that. And we secured and required permits to conduct our invasive species management needs in our region, as well as a scientific research permit for our dune restoration.
Hi everyone, Carolyn Kessner, Conservation and GIS Analyst for SLELO PRISM. I'm going to take us through the last 2 goals. So starting with information management. Information management really covers a wide variety of things that we do. So it's anything from, actually managing the data that we collect on the ground to then presenting that data to both peers and the public. So some highlights from this past year, if you could go to the next slide. it was a big year for us in information management. So we collect data that both goes to IMAP invasives and goes to iNaturalist. So through our iNaturalist project, both between our staff and volunteers, we collected over 1,000 iNaturalist observations, which is amazing. And nearly 500 of those were research grade with almost 300 different species. So we're out there collecting a lot of different data. As I mentioned, information management also contains sort of sharing this information out to the public. So every other year, SLELO PRISM hosts a symposium. This past year was a symposium year for us. I think a lot of people who are on this call were there, but we had over 20 presenters, including a keynote from Dr. Robin Wall-Kimmerer, and it was a really great event. This year, we also implemented some in-person workshops before the symposium, which were all very full and well attended, and I think everyone enjoyed getting to get a hands-on look at some of the work that we do and how they can get involved in the work that we do. And then similarly, our staff traveled far and wide to attend a number of conferences, including the Invasive Species Expo in Saratoga Springs in September. The photo on the bottom left is of our team at the expo, and we both tabled at it and also presented at a number of presentations at the expo. So I think a number of people on the call were also there. So that was another exciting event we attended this year. If you go to the next slide, Brittany. Thanks. And then I will take us home with innovation. So, invasive species are changing day to day. Both what's working today for one invasive species might not be working tomorrow. And then also, we're always having to deal with new species in the area and we have limited staff time. So finding better ways to deal with the invasive species that we're dealing with, but also make our efforts more efficient is sort of what innovation is all about. So a couple of highlights from this past year for innovation. If you go to the next slide. Thanks. So we released over 800 biocontrols to control spotted knapweed on sensitive dune habitat. The photo on the right is a photo of one of those weevils. We're really hoping they will establish and help us in the fight against spotted knapweed, but we'll see what happens. The photo on the bottom left is a photo of Adrian collecting eDNA samples over the summer. We collected over 75 different samples, hoping to use that technology to do some early detection work for invasive species. And then the photo in the middle is me conducting a drone flight. Over the summer, I conducted over 10 drone flights to help with monitoring both the spread of invasives and see how our management efforts are impacting these invasives in real time. So some really exciting innovation work that we've been doing and hopefully making us a little bit more adaptable to these invasives.
Thanks, Carolyn. So I will wrap us up with talking about some of our special initiatives. And so these are just these special focal areas for our program, which many of you are very familiar with. But so the first one we'll talk about is the Pledge to Protect. So we had 90 new people who were engaged and signed up to take the pledge. We're very excited to be continuing that through 2026 as well. This was a very exciting program, and we work really closely with a marketing company to assist us with creating monthly blogs to share information with people about how people can take action, as well as doing a lot of those press releases that Megan had mentioned earlier. We worked in 17 priority conservation areas within the targeted wildlife corridors, also for us known as the CLAW region, so those connected lands and waters. And so a lot of our focal areas kind of fall within these, but we're really trying to emphasize the surveys that are conducted in those regions. And then also, of course, I know you've all heard about the projects and updates from our partners. We were able to fund 3 special projects that were completed this year to support invasive species management as well as restoration work. You can see in the images on the right-hand side, the bottom includes pictures from the Thousand Islands Land Trust, who did some yellow iris management, which I'm excited to hear more about that in the future. All right, so that wraps up our annual report. That's just a really brief highlight. I think the actual document is closer to 150 pages long. So please take time when we release it next week to really sit down and read through it. A lot of the partnerships are mentioned, and there's a lot of photos in there too. So it's not really heavy reading. We tried to keep things short and really just focus on the highlights, but just wanted to really share visually what our work actually looks like across the region. So that really quickly transitions us into the next year of work. I always love to think of winter as the downtime or the down season, but for our work, it just means right now we're overlapping 2025, summarizing that, going through all of our data, and really just planning for the next year. So there's no downtime, and the team feels it right now, so they're excited to have this reporting pretty much wrapped up. So sharing this with you is exciting for us. So we have a lot planned for our work plan this year. It does, again, align directly with our strategic plan as well. So as we go through these next few slides, you're going to feel very familiar with what was shared previously as well. So our intention of this work is to plan for these objectives and really find and identify strategies to help us deliver these actions. But as appropriate and necessary, of course, it's the natural world, so we must be flexible, and we often find new actions or find that some of our previously planned actions might not actually support the work that we're doing. So with that, I'm going to let the team take back over and share a little bit more about what our plans are for 2026.
All right, thanks, Brittany. So once again, bringing the conversation back to prevention and what that looks like moving forward into 2026. This is the first line of defense when working to prevent the introduction of Tier 1 species within SLELO PRISM, as well as our priority conservation areas. So our steps into 2026 to achieve this is to have quarterly check-ins with the WISP program, or the Watercraft Inspection Steward Program, to really continue to support these inspection objectives across the boating community, and also continue our relationships with other PRISMs across the state and other partners such as you guys, to really be locked in and on the lookout for approaching Tier 1 species. And through maintaining this communication, we can build on outreach to enhance public awareness of these Tier 1 species, as well as supporting our partners to set up the spotted lanternfly traps to keep these efforts going for this Tier 1 species that we're on the lookout for within our region. And we want to continue fanwort outreach to landowners on the Little Salmon River, and our collaboration as well with Cornell Water Resources Institute and the DEC Aquatic Invasive Species Coordinators to continue our monitoring efforts there too. So to conduct pre and post treatment surveys on the Little Salmon River revolving around fanwort when needed. And early detection, rapid response. So this is the next highest priority following prevention, where we aim to rapidly detect new invasions and eradicate them when eradication is still possible within a specific area. And our 2026 actions to achieve this is to really continue QA/QC on all the field data that we collect. So this includes IMAP Mobile Advanced, SAS Pro, and Survey 123. So after recording all this really valuable information, we spend a lot of time looking back at all the numbers, all the data, to make sure that it lines up correctly, so the information that we share with you guys is accurate. So we're also creating an annual HWA field season survey schedule that's already complete and underway. We've begun the HWA field surveys across wildlife management areas, state forests, preserves, and priority conservation areas. So this winter, we are well underway on the hemlock woolly adelgid survey efforts. And we're also conducting hemlock woolly adelgid winter mortality rates surveys. So these help by analyzing some twigs that we collect from Independence Park. We can evaluate the percentage of mortality with the HWA, and that helps us look at the percentage mortality within our region this 2026 winter field season. And also, we are looking forward to performing DNA lab tests, collecting samples at South Cowell Pond of the lotus population, getting those checked in the lab, making sure that the species isn't as well, is the Lumbalutea, and double checking species accuracy and perhaps tracing where that population originated from, which can provide a lot of insight moving forward when planning management plans. We're also working on creating our field season for different sites in our region. So this is conducting surveys across our priority conservation areas and reporting all the data that we collect into IMAP Mobile Advanced, SAS Pro. So this includes multiple aquatic as well as terrestrial surveys across our PCAs with a lot of focus on wildlife corridors. So looking at the Adirondack to Algonquin habitat connectivity corridor, looking at priority conservations within there, as well as the Tug Hill, Upper and Lower Lakes, and Lakeview.
All right. Hello again. This is Robert. Want to talk about the Goal 3 invasive species management of the annual work plan. To meet Goal 3 invasive species management, SLELO PRISM will continue its efforts using suppression, containment, and eradication. For terrestrial invasive species, we plan to continue giant hogweed management in Jefferson, Lewis, and Oneida counties, using both chemical and manual methods. Also planned are manual removals of pale swallowwort, Phragmites, and yellow iris at several sites with assistance by volunteers and partners at some of these sites. Chemical treatments of pale swallowwort, Phragmites, knotweed, and bittersweet are planned at many of our PCAs, such as Chameau Barrens Preserve, Upper and Lower Lakes Wildlife Management Area, and Deer Creek Wildlife Management Area. For the aquatic invasive species, we have planned to continue management of American lotus through manual removal at South Colwell Pond, which is part of Lakeview Wildlife Management Area. And we also plan to manage water chestnut by leading hand pulls at the Oswegatchie River and South Colwell Pond, and assisting hand pulls being led by our partners at a couple locations, including Guffin Bay. All right, moving on to Goal 4, ecological restoration. To meet Goal 4, we will continue to reduce the impact of invasive species on ecosystem processes and in areas that have been disturbed or degraded by invasive species. In collaboration with partners, we plan to add an aquatic plant restoration pilot study that involves site selection, surveys of Vallisneria americana, and tuber collection. We also plan to draft restoration BMP objectives, monitoring plans, and site selection guidelines as part of a restoration SOP that we've been working on. To assist our partners and the public, we'll be developing a native species, native alternatives list that can be used for restoration and general planting use. At Deer Creek, we plan to implement dune grass transplanting, and we'll be also putting up fence there. Our restoration monitoring will continue to occur at 4 sites, with 2 additional sites being evaluated for potential to start restoration planting this year. Restoration planting will occur again at multiple sites this fall, with the help of our volunteers and our partners. And lastly, 2 of the restoration areas will be at the end of the 5-year restoration program. So we'll be beginning to draft up restoration reports summarizing the methods and the lessons learned for each of these sites.
Okay, education and outreach actions for 2026 we have a really robust year of collaboration, communication, and public learning opportunities. Many of our actions will involve collaboration with partners to enhance invasive species outreach efforts. We'll have 4 seasonal newsletters plus a summer announcement. Our digital communications are going to remain a major focus, including ongoing management of our constant contact list and announcements, weekly social media content and social media ads, and oversight of website maintenance and updates. And training and outreach will be extensive, with multiple trainings planned to enhance early detection efforts through our land and water protectors programs, as well as volunteer assisted removals and restoration opportunities, in addition to a literature review on lake associations. Altogether, these tasks are going to represent a comprehensive program of education, engagement, and early detection support across our region. And for goal 6, our actions are going to emphasize the structural coordination across PRISM partners. To support this goal in 2026, SLELO is going to be collaborating with and attending meetings held by regional and statewide partners. We'll implement an annual work plan and budget to support our objectives, review and update our strategic plan as needed, prepare reports to share our work, incorporate IMAP invasives in applicable trainings, and assist partners in volunteer recruitment. These actions are going to build consistency, transparency, and shared decision-making across our partnership.
Alrighty, I will take us through our last 2 action items. So for information management, it's doing a lot of what we were doing last year. So continuing to attend and present at targeted conferences. We're not even at the end of January yet, and we've already had staff attending conferences and presenting about our work, which is great. We're going to continue to develop and update PCA scorecards, which help us to assess the impact of the work that we're doing at our PCAs. We're going to be working to update our field maps and digital layers. We're sort of wrapping up talking about last year, and as we're preparing for this field season, I'll be spending a lot of my time preparing our maps and tablets for our staff to go out into the field. We're also going to be collecting and analyzing our education and outreach materials. We want to make sure that we're reaching the audiences we're hoping to reach, and pivot the work that we're doing if we need to based on those metrics. We're also going to be producing some mapping products for our CLAW work, and really showing those linkage areas. As mentioned earlier, we're really digging down into QA/QC on all of our survey data set. That data is really important for us and for partners, and sort of for the state as a whole, to make sure that we're collecting accurate data that then guides management efforts. We're continuing to put out and develop field reporting products. So a lot of all that great work that you heard Adrian and Robert talk about will be documented in reports, whether it's an HWA report, a hogweed report, a field survey report, or a treatment report, or more. And then lastly, continuing to contribute to IMAP invasives, iNaturalist, and other data platforms. It's really important that we share this data with everyone. Sorry, you're good, Brittany. And then lastly, for innovation, we're continuing to identify opportunities to automate our GIS and data workflows. Anything that we can do to save our staff time is really helpful, so I'll be continuing to look at that. We're also hoping to test and deploy a submersible ROV at select PCAs. That will be really exciting to see. And then I'm hoping to continue to conduct the drone survey work that I've been doing, and really develop that further. It's really helpful to have gone through a year of this work and see what worked and what didn't work, and be able to develop that further. And then lastly, we're hoping to continue to deploy those biological controls for spotted knapweed at Deer Creek, and hopefully we'll see some establishment with those.
Thank you, Carolyn. So, special initiatives, back to me. So we have a lot planned for 2026 in this realm as well. One of the biggest pieces was identifying and scoping what the 2026 special projects would be. And so most of you had received numerous emails from us asking you to submit project nominations for us to review them, and then select the projects to occur in 2026. And I'm sure most of you who submitted, thank you for submitting projects 1, and I'm sure you're anxiously waiting for those updates. We're working diligently in the background. There are a few approval processes that we have to go through to be able to announce to the applicants that they're selected to have their projects get funded. So we're working diligently. I know tomorrow is our deadline, so I'm hoping to reach out. For those of you who submitted projects, I'll email you. I'm hoping to reach out by early afternoon to at least give you a status update on all of that. One of the focuses this year for our CLAW program, or the Connected Lands and Waters Initiative, is focusing additional field surveys, not in the A2A this time, but actually in the Tug Hill to Adirondack region. So there's really vast connected corridors between the Tug Hill and the Adirondacks. And so there's numerous state forests, wildlife management areas, preserves, and different public properties that we're hoping to get surveyed. And so funding for that is also going to be announced soon. One of the projects that we had started with the Cornell Cooperative Extension of Jefferson County, the Roots of Renewal Project, or we've affectionately referred to it as our B project. This is continuing into 2026, and plantings will occur in the spring, and we'll also have numerous outreach events at those sites as well. And then finally, this is really the final year that we're putting a lot of funding into our Pledge to Protect initiative and the marketing work that we are doing in collaboration with Travel Alliance Partnership. That's a lot that Megan oversees. So thank you to those of you who helped promote the Pledge to Protect, who are supporting that program. We have a lot of really exciting things coming through 2026 with that. So that's the end of all of our updates between the annual report and the annual work plan. So now we're actually going to transition into partner presentations, and I have the full list of partners who submitted slides. I don't have a ton of tech access on the background, so Hemlock Initiative, we have you going first. And then IMAP Invasives, I don't think anyone was able to make the meeting, so I can update on their slide. We have New York State Parks updates, updates from the River Strategy, and a video from Tug Hill Tomorrow Land Trust. So that's the order, but up first is Hemlock Initiative. So if you want to unmute, and then when you're ready for me to transition slides, you can just let me know.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound great.
Okay, cool. Thanks so much again for kind of providing this platform to give an update. For anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Matt Del Bono, and I work in extension for the New York State Hemlock Initiative at Cornell University. And I'm going to give a really quick introduction and update regarding the Nature Conservancy's Trees in Peril program, particularly for our portion of that, which is called the Lingering Hemlock Project. So you can move forward. So I just have about 5 minutes, and so this will be very high level. I'll just put that out there, and my hope is really to maybe pique your interest, and so I'll give a project update, but I'm also, entering this hoping that some of you seek me out and, are interested in learning more about this initiative and potentially participating. And also, of course, we've got like a really robust and detailed website where you can do a deeper dive too, but I'm always happy to talk as a follow-up if you hear something. But the plan is just a really quick high-level intro to the program. I'll introduce you to our protocols and then just give an update on kind of where things stand now, so we can move forward. So for anyone who isn't familiar with Trees in Peril, this is a project led by the Nature Conservancy, where the ultimate goal is to develop genetic resistance to pests in vulnerable Eastern North American tree species through resistance breeding. That QR code goes to the Nature Conservancy's main page, where you can learn more about the broader initiative, and we can jump to the next slide, which kind of gives you a sense of the scope of what's involved in Trees in Peril. So the project is broad. At the New York State Hemlock Initiative, of course, we're kind of focused on the hemlock portion of this, but the project at large, covers other trees, other threatened trees like ash and beech. And so all of these kind of subgroups are at different stages of the project. And actually the hemlock portion of this is kind of in its infancy. We're really in that recruitment stage where we're looking for partners who want to help us go out and look for trees that might have some genetic resistance, which we're calling lingering hemlocks, which I'll talk more about in just a second. But just wanted to give you a sense of the scope of the project there, and we can jump forward here again. And I also just want to give a quick shout out to the folks that are involved. We've got a really diverse set of partners who are contributing in different ways. There are people here that are developing apps, people here that are, focused on the genetic breeding component, people that are out on the ground developing our protocols. So just want to give you a sense of the players that are involved. I'm really just presenting a small portion of the larger effort. And so we can click forward. That'll bring us to the 2 protocols that are involved in finding lingering trees. And I want to just give them both a little bit of airtime here for a second. And so when we talk about a tree that might have genetic resistance, we're talking about a tree that outlasts its peers. So we're really focused on the number 80, as in 80% mortality. For these 2 protocols that are, focused on this search. If you are in an area where you have beyond 80% mortality, then you're looking at the protocol, which is here on the left, called the lingering hemlock protocol. We're very curious about those trees, and we want to learn more about them. But if you're in an area where you are not yet at 80% mortality of the hemlocks in your plot, then you're kind of playing the waiting game, and we're setting a monitoring plot, which we call a hemlock health monitoring plot, which HHMP, which you'll see in these slides in our documentation. So those are our 2 mechanisms for finding lingering hemlocks. We can click forward. And again, I just wanted to note this lingering hemlock protocol, where again we're in a place where we're beyond 80% mortality. And that is when we are really interested in the remaining trees. And so we actually have a really handy app. It's called Tree Snap. You can download it on your phone, where you can go in and snap a photo, collect some information about the tree that you're looking at, which will go into a database that our larger team will review and determine if this is a tree that we would actually like to sample and study to see if it has some kind of mechanism for outlasting its peers. That's the lingering hemlock protocol, and our partners at HRI are the main leads for that, though I'm equipped to share more information about it. Now we can jump forward. But when you're not in that place, as I mentioned, you're setting up a plot. That is something that we're intimately involved in at the Hemlock Initiative, and that we're equipped to help train and educate folks on setting up a monitoring plot. So setting up a plot has 5 steps, and in that first year, you're going to complete everything that you see on the slide. And so, as you might imagine, it's a little bit of a heavier lift up front, but then in subsequent years, when you're going back to do annual monitoring, it's a much quicker, visit your plot, see what's changed, take some quick information. But in that first year, you're going through all 5 of these steps. We can move forward. Probably the first question that you'll be asking yourself if you're thinking about setting up a monitoring plot is, where should I put it? And our partners at ERI actually put together a really great 1-pager that helps you think about some of the factors that might go into a high mortality site, places where trees will succumb to an infestation quicker. And so that's actually desirable when we think about the purpose of this initiative. It's long-term monitoring mortality. So these are actually places that we would prioritize. And so I'm happy to share that as a follow-up if folks are interested, and it's also available online. But site selection is one of the first questions that you'll probably be asking yourself. We can move forward. And now just a little bit about what's involved in setting up a plot. So you're, first of all, you're going to be selecting where you are. You're going to be designing your plot. We have a lot of different options for how you may want to lay out your area. And then, of course, like going through and tagging the trees is one of the more time-consuming parts of this. But we also have some criteria of things that we're looking for, like the number of living hemlocks, the size of the trees, and also the kind of key here is that there's no prior chemical treatment on those trees and no foreseeable plans in the future to do chemical treatment of the trees. So you're really looking for some trees that you can set aside for the purpose of this initiative, which is resistance breeding. So that's kind of one of the keys there. We can move forward. And then you're also going to be collecting some data about the site and about the trees. And so you'll be going through and taking some measurements and doing an assessment on each tree in your plot, somewhere between 20 to 40 on, is there HWA? Is there EHS? How is the crown health? These are all things that we have documentation, and it is included in our training on as well. And one of the important things you'll be doing your first year is a dead tree survey as well. In your plot, we want to have an understanding of what's already happened prior to you arriving. So that's a part of the training as well. We can move forward. Final step is submitting data. Unlike the other protocol, which has the TreeSnap app that is ready to submit data, we're currently using like paper when you're out in the field and then transferring that to a spreadsheet to submit your data, though we will have our own instance of the TreeSnap app available in the near future. We actually have a beta site that's currently being used, so hopefully this will be an even quicker process than it already is, but ultimately that's what you'll be populating and submitting to our partners at the Satin Labs. Their email is there. We can jump forward. And now just a quick snapshot of where we are so far to kind of wind things down here. We've set up 9 sites with locations in New York, Massachusetts, and New Hampshire. And across those 9 sites, we have 20 plots. So some folks have, of course, opted to put in more than one in their area, which is welcome and gets us, is great. We do have some plans to put in some additional locations in New York, and we are also interested in finding partners beyond New York State. This is work that we want to do, across the Northeast. We can move forward. And then this last slide, I just wanted to kind of show a map of what a plot actually looks like. It gives you a sense of the size and the kind of information that we're collecting. And so when you opt to be part of this project, you're joining a network. We plan to meet periodically for folks that have set up a plot. We're also really excited about this data set that we're building, which, again, the purpose is for the monitoring mortality and the resistance breeding, but also is going to help answer a lot of other questions and learn more about how HWA moves across the landscape. So we can jump here to the last slide. And so to close things out, again, this was hopefully something that encourages you to want to learn more. That QR code on the right actually links directly to a Calendly link where you can book a meeting on my calendar, and the QR code on the left there is to our website where you can read a bit more. But please feel free to contact me directly if you'd like more information about this program, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Matt. I really appreciate you joining us and just sharing updates on that. If any partners are interested in collaborating and setting up some monitoring plots, I know that we are in SLELO. There's a few sites we're interested in. Reach out to me. I'll send some information in our meeting summary, and maybe we can connect with Matt as a group to learn more. Okay, so I believe there's no one on from IMAP Invasives, but if it is on for some reason, please feel free to unmute and speak. But IMAP was kind enough to share their updates for the year. So they just finalized their annual report. And with that, they were able to summarize the data that was submitted from the SLELO region into their database. And so we had over 2,000 presences that were submitted for invasive species that were also confirmed. 230 non-detections. This is a number where you go out, you look for something and report you did not find it. This number for us is a little bit lower than we'd like to see, so we're hopeful to continue working with partners to increase these not detected reports so that we know not just where invasive species are being found, but also where people are looking and recognizing that they're not found in other areas as well. The IMAP team has had a bit of a transition with staff within their program. So if you are trying to figure out who to reach out to, the best bet is going to be going through the IMAP Invasives at DEC email that's on the screen here. However, so Jennifer Dean and John Marino are somewhat stepping away from the invasive species side of things and focusing within the New York Natural Heritage Program on larger picture species information. So Mitch, Doug, and Fate are still main contacts and still leading the program together. And they also just announced, I think maybe yesterday, that they have an invasive species data assistant position, full-time position. So if anyone wants to share that information, please do. But just keeping you all updated on that. There's a weird glitch right now with the more recent Android updates that new users to IMAP Invasives can't download the IMAP app, but they're working on trying to figure out what the glitch is. If you already have the IMAP app, you're fine. It's just for Android users who are trying to download the app for their first time. The other big piece is with that transition of a lot of staff, there also is a huge transition of who hosts the software for New York State's invasive species database, and that is happening from NatureServe over to Cornell. So they're still working through the process of that, but that change is coming very soon. I'm just trying to move my slides. All right, Mike, I think I saw you were on, but you're up next. If you want to unmute and start sharing, and just let me know when you want slides to be moved.
Yeah, thanks so much, Brittany. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, thanks, Mike.
Great. Yeah, first off, I just want to thank everyone on the SLELO team for giving us this opportunity to share some of our work here at New York State Parks with you all. And I'm always blown away by the amount of work that you guys are able to accomplish throughout the area. So thanks so much for that. We appreciate that, and we're looking forward to working with you guys on all the projects in the future. So with that said, for those that don't know me, my name is Mike Service. I am a biologist with the Central Region of New York State Parks, and I just want to give a quick update on what we've accomplished in 2025 as far as invasive species go, and some of our conservation work, and then some of our plans for 2026. And next slide, please. And yeah, so in 2025, and then looking ahead into 2026, invasive species is always one of our main focuses, especially in the SLELO coverage area. So I just wanted to start off a little bit about our hemlock work. It's one of our main projects that we have in that area. And if you could advance the next slide, please. Great. So some of our hemlock woolly adelgid work that we've done this past year. In terms of surveying, we've surveyed 255 acres across our parks in the coverage area. That includes Selkirk Shores, Mexico Point, Battle Island, Verona Beach, and Pixley Falls. Of those parks, the parks that are in red on this slide are parks that have active HWA infestations that we are managing or otherwise planning to manage into the future. You can see we currently have one standout, that's Pixley Falls, that's right outside the blue line for the Adirondack Park, where we have not detected any HWA yet, so hopefully that continues that way. We also treated 78 acres. Again, this is only for the SLELO coverage area. We actually overlap 4 PRISM areas, so we have a lot of work going on in other regions as well. But we treated 78 acres last year, including at Selkirk Shores, we treated 23 acres. Mexico Point, we treated 17 acres, which is the entire stand at that rather small park. And Battle Island, we treated 38 acres, which is also the entire stand at that park as well. That photo on the right there is probably our park that has the most advanced effects from HWA. It's Mexico Point. You can see the canopy thinning occurring there, so it's probably our most furthest along park in perhaps being conserved for a lingering ash at some point in the near future plot. So we'll continue to coordinate with Hemlock Initiative on objectives like that. Next slide, please. I also want to give a little update or a little overview of what we've done for biocontrol releases in the area. As we know, the releases happen, on specific sites, but the goal is to have those spread across the landscape. And so it would be good for everyone to know what we've done the last few years. So we've done 5 biocontrol releases related to HWA over the last few years. 2 releases at Mexico Point, where we've released Laricobius nigrinus in 2022, and also Leucotraxis peniperda, or the silverflies, in 2024. In Selkirk Shores, we released Leucotraxis in 2023 and 2024. And then also at Battle Island, we've released Laricobius, a different species, Osakensis, which there's only been a couple of releases of that species across the state. We did that in 2023. And of course, we did some of those releases in collaboration with SLELO PRISM. So thank you guys for your support on those. And our needs for the future for biocontrol releases is, now that we're a few years in past some of these releases, is doing establishment surveys with Hemlock Initiative to see, have these established, and are they doing what we hope they're doing. That's just a photo there of some of the Leucotraxis going onto the foliage and going forth and attacking those HWA, as we hope that they do. So next slide, please. Just a couple other forest health related updates in the coverage area. So Delta Lake State Park, we have known issues with beech leaf and beech bark disease widespread across the park, which is a concern for us, as well as emerald ash borer, and we have thin ash canopy in that park as well. So those are things that we're keeping an eye on and are concerned about. More light coming in through those canopies, more spread of invasive species, etc. So we're working on plans for that. Also at Selkirk Shores, in addition to the HWA that they have there, we are concerned about emerald ash borer, beech leaf and beech bark disease, and the HWA co-occurring, particularly along the lakeshore at Selkirk Shores, and there's a fair bit of wetlands there as well. So we're monitoring those situations and planning for restoration work in the future for those as well. Next slide, please. And then looking at terrestrial invasive plant management across the area as well. So for Sandy Island Beach State Park, we surveyed 15 acres for invasives. We managed 4 acres with either removals or seed head clipping to prevent spread of various species in that area. And then just a little bit of data to present on other parks in the area. So Mexico Point, we're working on spotted knapweed. That would be purple loosestrife, excuse me. Pixley Falls, we did a big removal project for Norway maple. We had a lot of Norway maple seedlings invading into the forest there. Selkirk Shores, we worked on various species, multiflora rose, bush honeysuckles, burning bush, barberry, and garlic mustard. And also, that was along the Lakeshore Trail, and also Selkirk Shores around the Pine Grove Trail, which is along the Salmon River. We had some honeysuckle, some glossy buckthorn, and also some barberry, in those areas as well. So we're going to continue to work on those invasives in those areas, and hopefully, this is all manual removals, hopefully get those numbers in check a little bit there. Next slide, please. So we also have some conservation work that we do in the area. Probably the most well-known and most important one for us is going to be our piping plover conservation on Sandy Island Beach. So there's not a ton to update on that, but I do have just a little bit. If you can advance the next slide, please. So for this past season, we had not a whole lot of plover activity. So we had one prospecting male named Hawkeye. This year, he spent most of the time in the area on the beach alone. And he went from Sandy Island Beach. He was up at DEC properties, Lakeview, and other beaches around the area, but did not find a mate. He was later in the season joined by one female, Sesame. It was a little bit late in the season for nesting or anything like that, so that did not happen. As you can see on the map on the bottom right there, in our area, there's no nests for the season, and that was the first time since 2017 we haven't had any piping plover nests. Which was a bit of a bummer, but we are working on some plans for habitat restoration and improving the habitat for the piping plovers in the hopes that they might nest either at Sandy Island Beach or one of the nearby properties with DEC, etc. In the near future. Next slide, please. So moving on to our 2026 plans. This was a nice slide put together by Kennedy Sullivan, who's our piping plover coordinator up on Sandy Island Beach and does a lot of the work up there. Next slide, please. Those just a few of our projects that we're planning on taking on this year. So first off, we're working on a comprehensive invasive species management and restoration plan for Sandy Island Beach State Park. This would be on the North Sandy Pond side, for those that are familiar with the site, not the Lake Ontario side. And also Kennedy is concurrently working on our master's degree at SUNY ESF, and part of that is going to be a human dimensions survey relating to piping plover conservation and human perceptions of the work that we do, both at Sandy Island Beach and the DEC does at Lakeview Management, Wildlife Management Area. Looking at Selkirk Shores, we're hoping to expand our hemlock woolly adelgid treatments under a GLRI grant that we have. That's a multi-region grant that spans Central Region and Genesee and Niagara regions for New York State Parks. And also looking at Pixley Falls, we're going to continue management of Norway maple, Acer platanoides, and other invasive shrubs in that park. and continue HWA surveys there because it is our furthest north park and closest to the Adirondack Park on the west side of the park that we have jurisdiction over. Next slide, please. And that was it. So thank you so much for having me, and appreciate, look forward to the other presentations.
Thank you so much, Mike. That was really great to hear your updates, and definitely appreciated seeing some of the images as well. All right, so still kind of parks related, but not from Mike's side of things. So Mallory Broda with the SUNY ESF and New York State Parks Watercraft Inspection Steward Program asked me to just share that they have officially announced the steward position. So there's 20 open positions at multiple locations across the state. And if you look on the map on the right-hand side, you'll see there are numerous within our region. We would love to try to get that shared, this information shared out with our partners and with all of your constituents as well, and trying to get this in the right hands of the right people so we can fill all of those positions. I don't know if Emily is on, and if not, I will share from the river strategy. So tomorrow, because it's already Thursday, tomorrow the River Strategy is hosting their Thousand Islands regional meeting. And so initially they were asking for RSVPs by the end of last week, although they do still have a few spaces open and available. If people want to reach out to the River Strategy, we can send their contact info and email. I know Adrian from our team is going to be at this meeting, and they're hosting this in conjunction with Save the Rivers Winter Environmental Conference, which is on Saturday. And Megan and Robert will be attending that conference this weekend. So they're doing that in conjunction with, so if people are traveling and in the area, they can attend the meeting. I know there's numerous presentations that were planned and just general overview of the river strategy and next steps for the initiative to occur. Next is the Tug Hill Tomorrow Land Trust had shared this really great video online with the project that was funded by SLELO, and we're going to try to play the video. Hopefully you all get to enjoy it.
Hello, I'm Max Mintz. I'm a land protection manager with the Tug Hill Tomorrow Land Trust, and I'm out at the David S. Smith Public Conservation Area, where we just had a very extensive clearing of invasive honeysuckle and buckthorn. Virtually this entire area was completely covered in a thicket of honeysuckle and buckthorn, and as you can see now, it's quite a dramatic difference. It's much more open, and that's going to allow the native plants to start growing up again, allow the habitat here to naturally regenerate. There's still some follow-up work to be done, but we're going to keep working with our partners to make sure that the honeysuckle and buckthorn doesn't grow back up again. I'd like to give a shout out and a thank you to F&W Forestry. They did an excellent job on the clearing out here. I'd also like to shout out the SLELO PRISM program through the Nature Conservancy. They funded this project. It's with these partnerships and through these funding sources that we're able to effectively protect the natural lands and wildlife of the region. And as you can see by the results of this project, they go a long way.
First, I have Alexis Sprague.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hi, with DOT Region 2 here. No real update, just excited to get involved more, get Region 2 involved more in invasive species control.
Great, thank you. All right, next on my list then is Brian Eisenhower.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I'm from Cornell's Integrated Pest Management Program, and it was great to hear about the spotted lanternfly monitoring you all are doing. We continue to work with partners throughout upstate New York. This year, for the first time, it made it to the Finger Lakes region and into some vineyards there. We're really concerned about it in the Concord grape growing region along Lake Erie. We're going to be doing some eDNA work to detect it before visual or trap detection is possible. That'll be taking place this summer. We're also continuing to monitor box tree moth, which is really hugging Lake Ontario, and it is along the St. Lawrence region. Boxwoods are not native, but they're important to your state nursery industry and a landscape plant that is deer resistant, that's not invasive. We also posted a new website on beech leaf disease and have some management strategies there that research is showing is working for landscape situations. I know the DEC is doing some work looking at canopy thinning to see if that would make a difference in forest settings. And I'm going to post in the website or the chat our web pages for each of those 3 pests.
That would be great. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right. So next on my list, I have Bonnie.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I don't have any updates to share. Just, looking forward to getting more work done in the upcoming year.
Great. Thank you, Bonnie. So next we have Sierra Williams, and then following that is Crystal.
Hello, everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm Sierra Williams from Cornell Cooperative Extension of Jefferson County, and I currently don't have many updates. We're currently working on the BHE project as far as finding 2 more locations, and we have all of our plants and signs ordered. And then right now I'm working on the Master Gardener training for Jefferson and Lewis County, in which Megan will be speaking at one of the sessions as well. So that's exciting.
Great. Thank you, Sierra. Crystal, if you're online and able to share.
Hi. Yeah. So I am currently looking to hire a heavy equipment operator for vegetation management, for clearing out buckthorn and stuff like that. I'm working with CSU to get the job announcement out, but if anyone knows anyone with a CDL, you can email me, I guess.
That sounds great. Thanks, Crystal. So next up we have Dan from Save the River, and then Donald after that. All right, we're gonna move past. Oh, Dan. Oh, okay. Yeah. Donald, go ahead. You can share.
Hi, how's it going? I am a new Parks employee. I work under Mike Service with Central Region here at Parks. This is my 3rd day. Previously, I was at DEC for 8 years doing environmental permits. So I'm just here to figure out my place and support this incredible work. I've been really impressed with all the presentations, and I'm excited to help out where I can. Thank you.
Great. Thanks for sharing. Nice to meet you. Happy day 3. And hopefully all of your onboarding goes really well. All right. So then we have Eric. And then after Eric is going to be Greg.
So at DEC here in Watertown, we have a project that we did 2 years ago. We removed 40 acres of buffalo and honeysuckle, let it resprout, and now we are under the process of contracting out experimental treatments to move away from glyphosate. We're going to do a little bit with Vaseline and then bentonite arsenal cocktail to see how effective that is in comparison to glyphosate. We're also treating still water chestnut at Perch River WMA and Lakeview WMA. We did miss North Colwell Pond 1 year, and that really exploded. So we're going to try and get that even better this year. At Tug Hill WMA, we did some hand removal. It's been an ongoing annual process of buckthorn and Japanese knotweed, very small patches. The buckthorn was literally a handful of plants, and so far it's been undetected. The knotweed is still coming back, but it's a small parcel, and we believe that over time we'll get it. One big thing that I didn't hear much about, using prescribed fire to fight invasive species. We burned a 40-acre field on Ashland and had very good success at really causing the parsnip to disappear. It's been a couple years, and we still have not seen it growing there. So it's just one of those toolkits to put in your toolboxes if it's able and you're willing to take a review and maybe implement some prescribed fire. And that's all we got.
That's great. Thanks for sharing the updates on everything that you're working on, Eric, especially the prescribed burdens. It's always interesting to hear about different alternatives. All right, so next up is Greg, if you're online, and then following Greg is going to be Jeremy, and then after that is Jillian.
Howdy, friends. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Cool. This is Craig Welter from the New York Natural Heritage Program. I apologize for making you all talk earlier and not stepping in on the IMAP slide, but I figured the script that the IMAP team gave you would probably have more complete information than what I could say off the top of my head. So regarding our work at Fort Drum, which I coordinate, we're going to be back up there this field season doing more habitat survey work and a bunch of other stuff, and that includes a lot of invasive surveying to sort of get the picture on what's going on there. And we're kind of looking at some management areas. We're starting to do some pre and post management monitoring up there. So in the coming years, as we get the post end of it down, it'll provide some useful insight, I think. And as with every field season that we've had at Fort Drum looking at invasive plants since 2021, we do upload our data into IMAP, so it's visible and accessible to everybody. The 2025 data is not up there yet. We're working on that right now, but it's there, and we sort of simplify it so it's less likely to crash your web browser when you look at it. But if you want the full data set, you can always reach out to us. It's a little more, the geometry is a little more complex than what we upload to IMAP. So yeah, we'll be back at Fort Drum in 2026, looking at more invasive plants and collecting more data. Thanks for having us on the call here.
Thanks, Greg. All right, so then we have Jeremy and then Jillian.
Hey folks, I'm also from the Heritage Program. Just started, so I'll just go ahead and give an intro. I was just hired to do some data analysis. I'm a quantitative ecologist and a statistician. Hired me on to try to utilize all the data that's out there to quantify invasive species impacts on native biodiversity, rare species, rare communities. So I hopping on these calls to try to meet some folks, try to learn about what data is out there. I'm mainly working with IMAP's data and some of the rare plant species data that the Heritage Program collects. And I'm trying to juggle some projects, some kind of big overview projects, multi-species looks across the state. But I'm also excited to dig into some kind of more case studies on particular species. So if you folks know of any data that's not in IMAPs, maybe that's not collected by the Heritage Program and want to let me know, that's awesome. Or if you folks are super excited about some particular invasive species or some invasive species, kind of rare species interaction, and there's some data out there and you want to chat about cool ways to analyze that data or to leverage the data that you do collect, I'm around. So please reach out. It's great to meet everyone and hear about what's going on.
Great. Thanks for sharing that. I can guarantee you at least one person from our team will reach out for sure. Thank you for your update, though. All right, so next is Jillian, and then after Jillian is Karen.
Hi, Hi everyone, I'm Jillian Lee and I'm with the New York State Tuck Hill Commission. If you haven't heard of us, we're a small non-regulatory state agency and we serve all of the communities in and around the Tuck Hill region. We focus on natural resources, land use planning, and community development. The two big updates that we have are that we partnered with DEC and we released the Black River Initiative newsletter. This is for all of the different types of projects that are going on within the Black River watershed. I'll put a link in the chat. We had a lot of really great articles about projects that are going on. And highly recommend taking a look at that. We also have an upcoming winter wildlife webinar series. I'll also put the link in the chat as well. Our first one is today, actually at 7 tonight. It's on emerald ash borer, ash tree restoration. Our next one is February 26th on wolverines. The next one is March 26th on pollinators and native flowers, and last one is April 30th on owls. So you can check it out on our website and sign up through there if you're interested. Thanks.
Thanks, Jillian. All right, so Karen, do you have anything to share?
Yeah, I'm Karen Syme. I'm the director of Rice Creek Fuel Station, which is associated with SUNY Oswego. And I've just been in this position for a few months, and I'm also new to this group as well. So a few things I wanted to mention is for the last few years, we've been a release site for emerald ash borer biocontrols, working with SLELO PRISM on that. And we would like to continue doing the monitoring, which we have some volunteers who can do this, and I'm an entomologist as well, so we'd like to keep up on that. We're going to maintain a spotted lanternfly trap this year, and another highlight is that we are in the process of applying for a Great Lakes Restoration Community Grant, which would support a lot of the management efforts, partly at Rice Creek and partly on the main SUNY campus, and we're hoping to get input from SLELO on that as well. So I think that's about it. My assistant director is on the call as well, Chris Haynes. She can add to that if she thinks of anything when her time comes. Thanks.
Thank you for sharing and thanks for joining us. All right, so now we have Ken Nims and then Kimbri, and then after that is Kristen.
Hi everyone, I'm Ken here. I'm Stewardship Director here at the Thousand Islands Land Trust. Just a few things that we've been working on over the past few years, kind of echoing what some other folks are talking about, is a lot of restoration work. I think over the past 3 years now, we're kind of into the hundreds of acres that we've cleared and restored through native plantings as well. And certainly looking forward to this summer. We have a few other major projects along those lines coming up, and we're excited to continue the restoration work on a lot of our fee-owned properties in our service area. And I will turn it over to our Associate Director, Spencer Bustler, for another update.
Yeah, again, Spencer Bustler, Assistant Director for the Thousand Islands Land Trust. We were awarded a special project grant last year that we look forward to fulfilling a lot of the mechanical and chemical treatments on our fee-owned properties, primarily on our recreational trails. We have over 20 miles of trails that were surveyed last year, and the season grew short on us, and so we look to implement a lot of the actual management work this coming spring, in addition to keeping up the fight against pale swallowwort and the other woody invasives on our Tibbetts Point preserves. Little plug here, we do have another yellow iris hand pull coming up this May, so if anyone is around in May along the St. Lawrence River Valley, we'd welcome all hands on deck to assist with that. That'll be at our Chippewa Preserve. Aside from that, we've got a busy year ahead of us. We've recently conserved Cherry Island in Chameau Bay, which is a major conservation victory, but it does have a small swallowwort problem. So we'll be looking forward to going out there this spring and doing some biological assessments and some full surveys on the island. And we'll be having a shoreline cleanup come June on that new property that we own. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to join our mailing list, kilandtrust.org, or reach out to either one of us by email.
Thank you, Ken and Spencer. And Spencer, I can feel when you say small word problem. That small is in fact not the exact word that you probably want to use.
Slightly, yes.
All right, so next we have Kimberly and then Kristen.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kimberly Cullen. I am the director of Southwick Beach Nature Center. We are headed into our 4th summer, so we're still a pretty brand new nature center. And basically, we tried to key on education, and some of the things we do is invasive species. Some of the things we did last year were invasive species identification walks, scavenger hunts. We also was very popular. We did origami, so they would learn about different invasives. Like we've got one about spotted lanternfly, and then they build the spotted lanternfly. So we're hoping to continue and hopefully broaden our invasive species education this coming summer. We are hoping to open back up the Nature Center about June 19th and go until Columbus Day weekend. So if you've never been, come and check us out. Thanks.
Thank you. Kristen, you're up next.
Hi, I don't really have anything to add to Karen, so I'll just say hello and yeah, thanks for everyone for the updates.
Yeah, thank you. Hello to Snowy Oswego. I was thankful you guys got a little more than us today. All right, so next up we have Lucas, and then Mike, if you have anything else you want to share, you can as well.
Hi, I'm Lucas. I'm from Cornell Crop Extension in Oneida County. I'm a Master Gardener volunteer, and so there's a parallel between SLELO's education mission and the Master Gardeners educating the public on plants and pests. And I look forward to continuing to work with Megan with education outreach. And as a volunteer for SLELO, I'm looking forward to doing some HWA surveys and keeping an eye out for lingering ash, monitoring the spread of HWA in Oneida County, just not too bad here yet. And also do some more volunteer recruitment. Every year I take a wild edibles class here at the local community college, and I try to get environmentally minded people interested in invasive species identification and possibly management.
Awesome. Thank you, Lucas. Mike Service, I don't know if you have anything else you wanted to share.
Oh, yeah, I guess I got a couple of other things I could mention. So first off, thanks, Kimberly, for your talking about the Southwick Environmental Ed Center. And one thing that we had been lacking up in the Thousand Islands region for parks was an environmental stewardship sort of point person for a while. But we did a few months ago I didn't hire them, this is out of Albany. We did hire a new biologist in Thousand Islands, Stephanie Larkin, who wasn't able to be here today. But that will be your guys' point person for our parks up there. Anything north of Sandy Island Beach, that's going to be her purview. She came over to us from the DEC, where she had worked up in the area previously, but was on Long Island for a while. And so is now back in the area. Of course, you guys met Donald, or DJ, new to our staff. So we're looking forward to getting him involved in some of our projects there. Let's see here. I guess another update for Selkirk Shores is we're also working, Kennedy and one of our other wildlife folks, Ethan, are working on doing secretive marsh bird surveys in the Salmon River and the Grindstone Creek areas there, and possibly deploying some ARUs to get a handle on what birds we have up there, what waterfowl we have up there that we should be monitoring. And also, I'm glad prescribed burning was mentioned earlier. I won't say too much because this is very early days, but we are working on a prescribed burn plan for one of our parks. It is outside the SLELO area, but within our central region area. And I'll leave it at that for now because I don't want to get too far ahead of that. But it's something that we're looking at. We're managing some of our grassland areas, invasives, and also managing for breeding birds in a bird conservation area. And lastly, I just want to say that I'm very interested also in your guys' fan wart surveys. That go up in Mexico Point. We've got a boat launch there, and that's right near our HWA management site there as well. So definitely like to coordinate and collaborate with you guys on that as well.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. And Adrian's going to write down a note to reach out to you to share info on the fan work stuff. Thank you, Mike.
Great.
All right, so Nick, you are up next, and following that is Peyton and Peter Kinney.
Hello all, Nick Hamilton, honey. Erica was with me, but had to run out. So I'm going to give some updates from Erica. We are in Cornell Cooperative Extension of St. Lawrence County. So Erica has been working on a seed library that debuted, I believe, actually last week in Canton. More information on our website. She's doing an apple pruning and orchard management workshop. There's Seed to Supper this year it's going to be in Messina. 2 projects that are actually with CCE of Jefferson County. One is the SLELO PRISM native plant project. We have 2 of those in St. Lawrence County, one in Canton, one in Potsdam. And then she's also working with CCE Jefferson on the regional seed bank. And that will be hosted here at the Extension Learning Farm in Canton. And at some point, she's going to put a call out for volunteers needed for a seed collection event. This year will be my 5th year where I'll be doing spotted wing Drosophila monitoring. We also have a homesteading for all series that will be throughout 2026. One part of that series will be looking at monitoring and control of invasive species on the home scale. Other classes as we think of them. And then we have, seems tangential, but I am looking forward to this, and hopefully maybe some of you would be interested in being exhibitors, is that we have the Sustainability Day and Green Living Fair, September 25th. At SUNY Potsdam. And I can put my contact information in the chat if anybody wants to reach out about potentially being an exhibitor. And that's everything for us. Thank you.
Sounds great. Thank you for your updates. All right, so we have Peyton and then Peter after that.
Hi, everybody. This is Peyton with Oneida County Soil and Water. On the invasive species front, our district forester, Jessica Perda, is getting into HWA and EAB monitoring where she can, and also updating our municipalities with tree inventories to where they might have tree management issues related to emerald ash borer. She's also promoting our invasive species art showcase for NISA. And then we are getting ready for water chestnut mapping and hand pulls in the Oneida Lake watershed for this summer, and IMAP of invasive species in the Mohawk River Basin as well. And then for our water quality symposium this March, we're putting together a district invasive species program showcase to show what districts in the area are doing for different invasive species. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out. Thank you.
Thank you, Peyton. Appreciate your update. All right, so next we have Peter Kinney, and then following that is Sarah Trick, and then Scott Brindle.
Hi, this is Peter Kinney. I can cover myself and Scott Brindle, who's also on the call. DEC Region 7 Fisheries, nothing new to report at this time.
Great, thank you. Sarah, if you're on the line and have anything to share.
Yep. Not too much happening on the invasive species front, but I'm planning to write for 8 ag non-point source grants, so that'll keep me busy for a while. And then we finally got our modeling report back. It's still a draft, hasn't been approved by DEC, but for that water sampling we did on Sandy Creeks a couple years ago now. So this spring, probably when people start coming back from Florida and wherever, we'll have another public outreach meeting, talk about the results and our next steps. And then we're ramping up. We're going to start sampling for Stony Creek. So in March, we'll start those samples, and then we'll try to make a 90 plan for Stony Creek next.
That's awesome. Thank you, Sarah. Thanks for the updates. All right. So Scott, unless you had anything you wanted to share, I will skip you. And then we'll go to Sky. And then after Sky is Tom Algar.
Hi everyone, I'm Sky Garrett. I'm with NIPA and Canals. I work with Kate Luttrell. I'm going to be doing a lot of aquatic invasive species outreach events. So my primary role, I'm brand new, I started 3 weeks ago. My primary role is going to be the education and outreach. So hopefully I'm going to try to get all over the state, have tables and talk to people about not spreading aquatic invasive species. As for NIPAs and Canals, we are, I think, in the final steps of finalizing our rapid response plan for Round Goby and just trying to move forward with some of the solutions that we've come up for that. But that's about all I have. Thank you guys for welcoming me, and I hope to see you guys again.
Thanks, Sky. Are you stationed in, or are you located in the Albany area? Or where
I'm in the Albany office.
Okay, great. Thanks for sharing. Nice to meet you, and good luck with your onboarding process as well. Lots of new faces today. Okay, next is Tom Algar. Give Tom another.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me
Yes,
now?
now we can. Yep.
Sorry, I
No
was
worries.
muted on the screen and my phone. And okay, two quick things. I had talked about the native plant seed list that we were producing. The list has been finalized. However, it's not released yet. It's still going through executive review, so stay tuned. It will be posted on the Ag and Markets website as soon as it's available. Hopefully very soon. It's kind of out of our hands. The director of the division had, submitted it to the commissioner's office, and we're just waiting for the commissioner's office and the public affairs folks to release it and publish it on the website. So I will share that out as soon as it's available. And I know Robert mentioned about the native plant seed list that he has. I was going to ask if Robert could email me that list. That I want to compare the two. Hopefully they match up pretty well. My other thing is a huge thank you for participating yesterday in the 2026 Plant Health Emergency Response Tabletop Training Exercise. Big title, but I think it was really important for prisms to be there, and you were out of the 8 prisms, SLELO was one of 2 prisms that had folks there. And I just think it's really important, and that the other agencies, some of them don't even know what prisms are, because there's Department of Health and DOT and others that may be involved in a plant response. This lends into the low end of the invasion curve on the EDRR factor. So if we can incorporate prisms more into that initial response, the less likely we will get at the far side of the invasion curve. That's the plan. And when it comes to public outreach and even trapping, I know some of your partners mentioned spotted lanternfly traps. Thank you very much. That all adds to that. Those efforts are really appreciated and noticed by us. I just want to let that be known. And for you guys to take time and send folks to that exercise was great. And I know they're working on funding, but at some point in the future, the plan is to have a functional exercise where it's kind of like a mock exercise, and we go through all the motions of, here's the scenario, now react. Because it's a lot easier to do it in a training situation than, when the real thing hits. It's much better to make mistakes and corrections during a training exercise than it is in the real world. And besides monitoring, and just organizing the volunteers, directing volunteers, and public outreach, that's really the role that we look forward, for the prisms to partner with in these emergency responses when it comes to plant pests and diseases, whether they're ag pests or forest pests, So just appreciate you guys taking the time to be there. It was noticed and very important, and other folks further up the food chain from me noticed as well. They more noticed that other prisms weren't there. They expected a better participation from the prisms, and SLELO was stepped up, and thank you.
Thanks, Tom. We appreciate that. They drove through a lot of snow to get there, so I know they also appreciate it. Thanks for your updates, Tom. And we have not developed that native species list yet, so this is something that we get asked about all the time. So we'll definitely collaborate with you to make sure that our lists line up.
Yeah, definitely.
Sure.
All right, so we have two more updates from Tom and then Todd after that. So, Tom Banofsky, if you have anything you want to share. All right, Tom's not unmuting. So let's move to Todd then.
All right. Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. My name's Todd Keister. I'm the director of a new nonprofit at the Thousand Islands. It's the Thousand Islands Divers Alliance. So we're going to be focusing on basically underwater cleanups, debris removal, and historic shipwreck preservation, as well as diver safety. So I came to the meeting today to see if this might be an area where we might be able to help you folks out with some of the aquatic invasive species identification or eradication at some point. So if anybody has any questions or interest in that, feel free to reach out or check out our website. It's tidivers.org. Thanks. That's all.
Great. Thanks, Todd. It's great to meet you. Thanks for joining us.
You as well. Thank you.
All right. So I think that is the conclusion of our updates. I just want to take a moment to, hold on one second. I'm going to go back to sharing my screen again, if I can get there. Thanks for your patience, everyone. We're wrapping up the meeting, so just give me a second here. Not sure why it's just moving so slow. Yeah. All right. Yep, we're still going here. Okay. So, open discussion, I guess, is the next slide. A lot of work just for that. Is there anything else? I'll just kind of pause for 30 seconds and just make sure if there's any other updates or anything else anyone wanted to share. I just wanted to give pause for that opportunity. So feel free to unmute yourselves if you have anything else to share. Okay, maybe one. So. All right. Well, during open discussion, Megan is going to attempt to share a little bit about events coming up. We just realized there's a slide missing in our slide deck. Do you have anything offhand, or just send people to the website?
Yeah, so those of you who had reached out to us to have your events featured on our website, those are on our website. And then some other partners had reached out just to share other events, and I did have a slide with all of the dates on it, but now it's not there. So I guess what we'll do is in the summary, we will include the events in that, and also the upcoming newsletter is going to have the event. So my apologies, I'm not sure what happened there, but also I'd just like to say that and everybody shares, there was a few of you who had shared upcoming events that I didn't hear about via email or through like the registration for this meeting. We had asked if people had events. So if you do have events, I really, really want to know about them.
we're really trying hard to help promote all of your events. If you hold events that are including invasive species in any way, which it sounds like many of you are, please tell me so I can showcase your efforts and our metrics as well. There is on the SLELO PRISM website under the partners page, right on the front page up on the top, you hit partners, scroll halfway down the page, and there's a link to a web page on our site that will let you notify me directly through a Google form, which I get a spreadsheet, everything organized, hopefully, with all of your events that you've held and also events that you want help promoting. So please do fill out that spreadsheet just to notify us of these events, and we'll help you with promotion. And those of you who are hosting removal efforts, I'm more than happy to help raise awareness for those as well. So definitely let me know about them too. I noted some from everybody shared today, so I'll probably be reaching out in the next few days for those as well. And our newsletter is coming out, so if you haven't already emailed me events and things that you want showcased in the newsletter or articles or anything like that, please do that soon, because I'm putting together the newsletter soon. So I will save space for your things. Thank you. Thanks, Megan. All right, so let's talk about partner meeting schedule. So we are going to have 2 more meetings this year. We obviously are having our winter meeting today. If all the snowy photos and talk about snow didn't give that away. We have our spring partner meeting in either the end of April. And so on the screen here, there's a QR code to a doodle poll. So if you haven't taken that yet and would like to, I highly recommend it, and we'll select one of those 3 dates. And then also, just to get in advance everything organized, we're also looking to schedule our fall partner meeting as well. And the dates that we've narrowed it down to are listed here. Again, same doodle poll, so if you want to just fill that out, we'll be making the final date selection and announcement with the partner summary that goes out in 2 weeks. And with that, the moment you've all been waiting for, our staff contact list. Just kidding. Well, I just wanted to say thank you all so much for joining. I wish that we were in person and I was looking at all of your faces and your smiling faces and just being in person and networking after the meeting. But with the snow, it's definitely better to plan this virtually. So thanks for joining virtually. Thanks for kind of participating throughout the beginning and the end and hanging in there as we shared lots of updates throughout the whole meeting. So we appreciate you all. We are so excited to continue collaborating with you all, and just seeing a lot of new staff, new faces on here as well just makes me excited to see what 2026 is going to bring for all of us together. So thanks again for joining, and you're welcome for 14 minutes back in your afternoon. We'll see you all soon. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.